All right. Good morning, traders. All right, all right, Sandy. Good morning, Doug. Good morning, Steve C. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, John. Good to see you. We'll give it just a minute here. Let everybody in who's coming. Bob's still celebrating. Uh, Hi, Vladimir. Good to see you. Silver up to 80. Oh my goodness. That is insane. Yeah, silver just keeps on running. More to come, in fact. Yeah. Some have talked about even 100. Let's see here. Good morning, Tony Z. Good morning, Kent. Good to see you. All right, let's get started. Give me just a second here. I need the recording software and I need our posture. Okay. If I could find it. Here we go. All right, officially. Nope. Nope. Almost. It's almost official. Silver's the new gold. Officially, good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Options Income Launchpad Sunday Market Insights. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. As always, let me remind you that what we do is for education and illustrative purposes only. Nothing is intended as a recommendation to buy or sell any security or financial product. We're not brokers, we're not advisors. Therefore, we do not give anything that should be considered personalized investment advice. Decisions made should be done so at your own risk, yada, yada, yada. What are we going to do today? We're going to posture the market. We're going to use our ever expanding and improving AI model that we are building. It's kind of a fun experiment, and I find it to be quite useful. So we will check our data, our numbers with what the model is saying it sees, and we'll see where that puts us. We'll look at the economic calendar. We're starting to get back into normalcy and regularity with economic data post shutdown. We're almost caught up, I believe, is where we're at. Almost caught up. Um, okay. Sector searching, watch list maintenance, early week opportunity list, and once again for the trading plan, we are not looping right now. The train is getting some maintenance done, so we're not taking the loop. What should you be doing? You should be evaluating and assessing. In order for you to be ready for what we are planning to do um next month, next year in January, in order for you to be ready for that, we need to have you assess every section of your trading plan, scale from 1 to 10. So when you're done, you should have a score somewhere between 0 and 80. And when that's done, and when that's done, we will you will have a prioritization matrix. So for the first loop, we're going to talk about once you've got your trading plan to a certain place, how can we then um, look to improve one section at a time rather than just always going back through? Because at a certain point, you need to spend more time on some sections and not as much time on the others. All right, let's go. Let's go. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, I was like, I logged in fresh. We know the Sunday battles, Sunday morning battles with Thinkorswim, but I am good. Okay, let's see here. Oh, we're right at long term. Perfect. This week's chart for analysis. Our last posture of the year. It'll be interesting to go back and look at what the average posture was for last year compared to the average posture of 24, and then compare that to how the market did. I'm thinking I'm going to do that this week, maybe like on Thursday. No. Are we meeting Thursdays? We're not. Thursday's off again this week because of New Year's Day holiday. So everything is normal except for Thursday. We will not do Thursday. We need to look at the mark. I believe it's another half day Wednesday, no day Thursday, light day Friday, probably. Is what we'll be expecting. If someone wants to verify that, let me know. All right. Let's see. I am going to stay unchanged. Last week I dropped my score a quarter of a point because it rolled, meaning it turned to two reds in a row. Now, this week it actually came back. But I feel like that actually sustains, right? If you look at this now, we've been in the red since like back here in July. And we got up to its top and then popped down and then we got up and I would actually say that red feels way more accurate, way more accurate compared to what we have that we're seeing here. So I'm going to leave my score alone, 1.25. Let's go see. Oh, I took too long. Oh, no, I didn't. There it is. All right. And while that's popping up, we'll move on to the next one. So last week, one, two, three, four. Last week we had this higher low. We scored it. This week, someone might be like, "Hey, we technically made a higher high." Nah, this is the same trend. There's nothing new there that would um, indicate the need for a different score in that situation. Uh, Long-term score unchanged, 1.25. We see it the same. Push to fresh highs, cleans the track with the established red rising channel, well above the 50. While the strength is persistent, the slope is not meaningful, steepened into the blue-green zone of a 1.5. I agree. That makes perfect sense. Um, let's go short term. This week's chart for analysis 12, 28, 25. All right. Here is our posture. Oops, sorry, I forgot to do this. 1228, 125 for me, 125 for ChatGPT. I am at a 1.25. Yeah, I think that's still the same thing. Um, I don't see any reason to raise that. I'm curious if ChatGPT might see something to raise that. So if it does, I'm okay with that. If it went to a 1.5, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, but I'm not gonna. No need to calibrate on something like that if we're off. We don't see differentiation as the need for calibration, right? If I'm like, I'm a 125 and it's a 1.5, so I need to say something to it. No, that's not what we're doing. We see a need for calibration when the logic it gives with the answer is wrong. When it's like, oh, well, because of this, I'm like, wait, no, that's wrong. Ah, there it is. So I said, nah, I'm okay. ChatGPT says the short-term trend strengthened this week, breaking to a new high above the prior 689 and held. The trend has transitioned from constructive but capped to active continuation. Follow through to above 692 to 695 would justify 175, while a quick failure would pull the score back. Okay, like I said, I didn't see enough for me to score it higher. I needed it to be a little bit more. Why do I say that? Because again, we're trying to understand trend. So if that's what our low is and that's what we're saying the highs are, that doesn't really look like a 1.5 to me yet. I'd have to go a little bit higher still. But I'm not going to argue with ChatGPT's logic, and therefore we'll go ahead and let that score prevail. The thing that I like that the model is doing is exactly what we do, which is what? Talking about what would it take to need to what would it take? What would it need to improve its score? What would it need to decrease its score so that it's all mapped out for next week already? Um, Stephen D says he agrees. So that one's interesting. I'm a 125. It's a 1.5. However, what I want you to notice is um, I want you to notice that the total score, 4.75, it was behind a half a point. So that's just kind of catching up where other things, may or may not change. Okay, let's drop down to the 1 month daily. and we got no new volume. So it's still, and all of this volume has disappeared. It was interesting because these two here were very, very close. They both had above average volume, but just not enough. Um, and so I have a tie. Two sells, two ties, two buys in this 6 day above average volume junket. This is where we started. This is where we ended. Very slight uptick in that. Um, yeah, tie goes to the buyers, 0.25 for me. Tie goes to the buyers. Let's see what the model thinks here. Okay, we'll include the volume. And I'm going to stay the same. We'll see where GPT ends up. Let's get to the volume. Nice chart for analysis. 12, 28, 25. I don't know if I need to always put the date, but I feel like it creates a nice archive. You know? And let's see if it keeps it the same or if it. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now here's the hard thing for me. I'm gonna leave it to a vote. Uh, and the ledger's wrong too. The ledger's off. Last week, so it was a zero for a while, and last week it went up. So the continuity ledger was off a little bit. Now, the way we teach this is tie goes to the buyers, and it's still a tie. So do we calibrate or do we leave the score and see what happens? The way that the voting works is first to three. Calibrate it or leave it. Boom, we're leaving it. Stephen D, I was leaning towards calibration, but the group has spoken. Once we put it to a vote, we know how it goes. Also, Bob Rowland, good to see you. We have tie goes to the buyer. Um, but you can see, and it knows that, but it is actually, maybe rating it a little bit stale. Maybe the slope. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for 1 week to avoid the risk of over calibration. So um, I will do this though. That's a great question, actually, Stephen D. Um, that's where I was going. I'm just going to ask it a question and let it calibrate itself potentially. Let's see how sophisticated it is. Short answer, no, it did not impact the score, but the ledger entry was wrong and needed correction. Um, which by your rules causes conviction to decay back to neutral. Ooh, except that our rules do score a tie in favor of the buyers. Thoughts? And yeah, I get the irony when I ask ChatGPT for its thoughts. I get that. It's part of the fun. Short answer. Ah, so it's saying that it got a little stale. It's the staleness. Okay. Um, okay. Interesting. I'm gonna leave it. Good conversation. Good conversation. No new boxes. Um, but we may make a change. Do I have the positive slope effect? No. No, I don't think I taught the slope of sanity. Um, but I would have to draw it. I think I'm going to leave that one out. That's more for us. That's more for us for an override. This was an interesting one today. I love this today. Okay, so I'm going to leave it. It's dropped back to a zero, ChatGPT, whereas I am still at a 0.25. So I don't think it's gonna still be that half a point behind. It does appear. Okay, let's go get to the. Let's reload these. I may as well reload these while I'm at it, and we'll start here. Let me get my drawing tools out of the way. Okay, we'll start here. Our 200-day chart. That was an interesting one, yeah? Major market. Ooh, last week we had a little bit of calibration. This week's chart for analysis. 12, 28, 25. There's one. What do we think? I think it looks great. Um, and NASDAQ is on top. The okay, come on, just get to working for us. Huh. Whoops. What is going on? Sorry, guys. I have no idea what's happening. There we go. Let's go to 133. So that looks great. We had the Dow and the Nasdaq on, or we had the Russell and the Nasdaq on top, the Dow at the bottom. Let me go back to that for 1 second, just to make sure we all see the same thing. So Nasdaq leading, that's Russell in second. There's the watermark lagging. That's perfect. That's exactly what we'd expect. We go to 133. More of the same. The Dow caught up a little bit, but is still slightly behind. The Russell actually moved into a primary leading position. So real good action going on between small caps and technology in this situation. So the foundation is strong. Oh, let me take a quick picture of this. Nope, not yet. Let me get this out of the way and take a quick picture of this and get the 133 and put it in. Okay, so there's two. Let's go to 66. Okay, so 66 is what threw us off last time. There was a lot more of a mixed bag, and we saw the Dow kind of pop to the leading spot. Last week when we did this, you could see it was there, and it's still there. Is it like, oh man, look how much this is shifting defensively? No. I'm going to leave mine at 0.75. It's unchanged. I already scored that last week, right? I already scored that last week. It's not like it's worse. It's the same thing, just happening again. Stephen D agrees. I'd love to hear from the group. What are you guys doing with this one? It's just barely there. And the everything else is kind of close to themselves. So I feel like there was enough to, kind of notch it out of the full one zone, but it's still overall more strong than not. And let's go see what the 22 does. And on the 22, what do we have? We have a little battle between the Russell and the Dow. Um, uh, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like that changes anything. It's a lot of parity. Parity is not defensiveness. Defensiveness is, look, we've seen a shift away from small caps and the Nasdaq into the the Dow. We haven't seen that. We've seen some pausing and some like ties. So this is a tough one because I don't feel like you know it's not holding up the strength that we had, but it's also not going into a risk off position. I feel like a 0.75 is a reasonable place to be, and that's where I'm gonna be. Let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, yeah, it does drive me crazy when I misspell sometimes. I know that ChatGPT doesn't care, but I care. Okay, so I am going to keep mine 0.75. And if you remember last time, ChatGPT dropped from a 1 to a 0.25. And I'm like, whoa, that's too volatile. And it's like, okay, we'll go to a zero point 0.5. I can't see it dropping. Like I feel like if it drops, we'd need to calibrate. If it holds at zero point 0.5, I accept that. Um, we don't score the 22. We use it to, yeah, agreed. Ironically, I just lost my Thinkorswim. I was like, wait, did I lose it? I did. It's going to relog in, but that's okay because we're doing something else. So it worked out perfectly. Let me move this out of the way. Oh, Thinkorswim. Yeah. Okay, let's see what it did. Oh, 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 oh. Wait, wait, wait. Why is it saying this? I don't even want to look at it right now. Hmm. Corrected. Okay, so it's still like you are accessing last week's conversation. The charts just loaded are new and for this week's consideration. each week. The new charts get loaded for analysis. Last week, we did some calibration. But this week was just a fresh analysis. Does that change your scoring? Okay. Yeah, sometimes the calibrate, Tony, it pulls the like it's like, hey, I forgot that it's like, wait a second. Yes, it does change the framing, but it is not materially changed, and here's why. I'll reset cleanly and treat this fresh standalone. This week's charts, no calibration anchoring. Okay, so it's definitely not that. We know that. And it's definitely not that. Proper fresh week score 0.75. Risk on leadership is imperfect. Defensive leadership not confirmed. Breadth is mixed, not broken. Um, okay. Final answer. This week's charts, the Dow is leading on the 66, but it does not justify a collapse in the score. Okay. Well, we got there. We got there. So ChatGPT technically is raising up to a 0.75, catching up to our score. Um, so it's interesting because it's a little higher on short term, but lower on volume, but we're the same on the combined. Yeah, okay. That's all fair. That is all fair. Let me move this here, proceed, and make sure we go to live. And this will be ready for us when we start the VIX. Glad I noticed. Hmm. Okay. Where are we at? Sector rotation. Sector rotation. Boom. Make sure we're all the way over. 1, 2, 3. And whoa, that did not snip it what I wanted to snip it. All right, hold on. I think that the login is throwing things off. Let's see if it's going to let me do this here. Okay. I feel like because we did some calibration, we need to be like, this is new for this week. Sector rotation. This week's charts for analysis 12, 28, 25. Okay. Okay. There's one. Steven said I scored it the same. Okay. In the mix, but not enough. So what do we have here? We have technology. And then we have discretionary popping in there. And we have comm services close and industrials close. That's helpful. Financials not too far away. So it's if you were to look at these, they're not leading, but they're in the mix. So I agree, at least in the beginning, about what you're saying. Let's go to 133. Or was that 133? Sorry, let me go. 200. Okay, 200. Let's go 133. 133. What do we have? Still technology. Healthcare remnant. We have discretionary in there, so it's done well. We've got com services close, financials close, industrials close. Um, let's go here and do this. And here. Okay. So far, it's definitely holding up at least a 0.25. Now, I'm hoping to start seeing some growth sectors pop here. Unfortunately, they have not. Healthcare still just sort of hanging on to this spot. It's not getting more strength, it's just kind of hanging on. Um, Technology still there fighting. Financials is close, but and industrials is close, but so is materials. Discretionaries down here. It's kind of a mixed bag. I'm gonna leave mine as well. If somebody was a zero, if somebody was a zero, I would be like, yeah, I can see why. I mean, it's tough to find leadership in the sectors right now. If somebody was a point 0.5, I'd be like, I don't see it. So I kind of feel like 0 to 0.25 is all we can really do with this. It's neutral, maybe still slightly bullish, but definitely, in my opinion, definitely not bullish enough to warrant a zero point 0.5 from what we've just seen here. If you're on the fence between a 0 and a 0.25, I'm leaving mine at 0.25. I believe that's what I was, 0.25. If you're on the fence, then the 22 day would be helpful for you. Let's go see what the 22 day says. Bob says it looks promising, which is always helpful. Yeah, there you go, right? We've got financials in the mix, discretionary in the mix, uh, technology in the mix, industrials, communication services. We do have basic materials. We did see a little bump there, but if you look at what's ahead, we've got one, two, three, four, five growth and one not even defensive, but inflationary, right? Materials getting up is not defensive. It's more like, hey, if materials are going higher, things cost more, and that's going to eventually put some pressure on the market. So we're not that concerned about that. So I agree with Bob. 22 day definitely looks promising. If I was at a tie between saying, hey, you know what, I don't know if I want to score this at a 0.25 or a zero, I would look at this and be like, yeah, 0.25. I'm going to go a 0.25. Um, let's see what ChatGPT says. This one's tough, right? This one's tough to get a hold of sometimes, but ChatGPT sees it exactly where it is. Reassessed sector rotation for 1228 aligned tightly to your framework and the corrected interpretation. Technology remains clear across the board with healthcare there, but healthcare growth leadership is narrow but intact. Continuity note holding. Um, yeah, I think that makes sense. What would justify a move to zero point 0.5 versus what would drop us to a zero? Nah, we're okay. We'll leave it as is. That's a good read, a good score. I'm at a 2.5. It's at a 2.5. So I'm unchanged across the board. ChatGPT had a little shuffle. Shuffle up, shuffle down, shuffle up, and it's closer to where we are. Let's go see. The one place that I thought I might put in a quarter of a point was actually at the VIX. So let's go get I need to detach this. Um, I did lose. Yeah, give me 1 second while I reconstruct this. And I'm going to quickly add one, two. I'm going to quickly add the 100. That one's pinkish. And the 200 still. If we get a little more bullishness, we may not need that, but I still think it's helpful to have these other perspectives. And let's go to the VIX and score the VIX. Then we'll get to our watch list and call it a day. Much better timing. Last week, I feel like I went like 20 minutes over. We had like tech issues and it was a weird day. A weird day. Let's get a picture of this. Bumped it for the lower low. I'm actually kind of feeling that that's where I may be going as well. I'm not going to incorporate the stochastics, just so I was at a 1. ChatGPT is at a 0.75. Let's go get to this week's VIX analysis. This week's chart for analysis 12, 28, 25. Boom. Okay, so let's go talk about what we're doing with it, and we'll come back to that. So I'm leaning towards that quarter of a point that both Stephen D and Stephen C gave, which is to signify the lower low down here. We're at 1338. We finished at 13 and a half. 13 and a half after what else? After a couple of bumps off of 18 to the downside. We've touched it there and bumped down, touched it there, bumped down, touched it there. Yeah, I think that this makes sense, and I'm going to go ahead and raise mine a quarter of a point as well, 1.25. Whoops, that's not what I meant to change. 1.25. And that gives me a net sum 5. Nice, solid, bullish number. Is it strongly bullish? Nah, it's not a 6 or a 7, but it's a solid bull. It's not, it's more than slightly at 3 or 4. It's a solid bull. Where did you end up, everybody? Who's higher than me? Who's lower than me? And let's go see where ChatGPT decided to be. 5, 5.25 for Bob Rowland and Steve D. Very, very good. A 1. Okay, so ChatGPT agrees it's worth a point, a quarter of a point, but a quarter of a point from where it was, and still just below us a little teeny bit. So let's give it a 1 from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a 4.75. So we've got a couple guys at 5.25, a couple of us that are at 5. ChatGPT's at a 4.75. You know, it's pretty solid. Pretty good validity across multiple analyses. This is now a confirmed low volatility regime rather than a short-term dip. Continuity reflects sustained calm. Absent a sharp reversal or higher low, this component should remain elevated with downside adjustments only warranted. Meaningful volatility resurgence. It's exactly how I would have said it. Exactly. Okay, there it is. Final scoring 5.25, or 5 and 4 3/4. Pretty good. ChatGPT is the conservative voice. It must be. It must be. Okay, let's go. Um, hmm, let's go and get us a new watch list for this week. 1228. Okay. Throw this old one away. Okay. Let's see. Start at the top and see what looks good. Apple still above the 50, still on the list. AMKR still holding up, still on the list. And there may be a few of us still with a position in here thinking it's held above the entry, especially definitely held support. Amazon is back on the lists. Now that it's made this move back up to these old highs and then some on a pullback, I would say, yeah, let's see what it can do. APH is a no, two sideways overall in the trend. AVGO is a no. It's languishing down here after having broken through the 50 and the 100. AXP is pausing, but I would still say is a yes. I think that financials still overall are going to look good. BAC still on the list. City definitely still on the list. Looking for a pullback potentially there. Caterpillar, I'm going to keep on the list, but it's a little stalled sideways here, so we'll keep an eye on that one. CIEN, I think it looks good, but it's overextended. It's overextended. It's this was just we were watching it here. The problem was it was like a 10% entry. And then it's just barely moved since then. I'm still going to look at it. I'm still going to be thinking about it, but it's not until it pulls back. CLS, no, you can see, right? These highs, big drop. Now it's got a lower high. I'm going to say no to that one. Coherent. Um, Coherent is uh yeah, that's a maybe. It turned, now it's stalling, didn't get to the old highs, but it could pull back and still go. I'm going to say yes still. If it were to have a pullback to here and turn, a little bit of a triangle, but if it breaks that triangle, we're that's a continuation pattern. So I'm okay with that. Credo, no. Cisco, still yes. Still yes. Delta. Uh yeah, I think Delta looks pretty good actually. Fox, still strong. Overextended, needs a pullback. Maybe a few of you in that one. It's one we've talked about a lot. First Solar, yes. And First Solar is setting up. It made it new high, went from here to here, new high. Now it's pulling back. We've got a great window in here for a higher low and resuming of the trend. GE, yes. On a pullback, GE is back into a leadership position in industrials. Gold, obviously strong. It's a tough one to want to trade, but it is strong. General Motors, still good, still strong. As is Google. Anybody take that Google? Let me know. Goldman Sachs still looks great. A little overextended right now. GTX. I mean, yeah, it's kind of just like in this weird meander. I've had a couple of times where the earnings, not earnings, the options liquidity was not where I wanted it. And I'm actually going to say this one's in the same place. I'm going to bounce this from the list. I should have had better due diligence when I first put it on to check for the option liquidity. IBM's trying. I would actually say that's viable and still open. Yeah. Intel. Oof. Intel has, I'm not going to put it on the list, but I'm actually still, this held up. We said if it gets back above 36, it did, and then it held the next day. So I'm looking at this one still because I'm in it. I would be a little reluctant now that it like dipped into this, but maybe still let's keep an eye, and if it pops, we would still have something ready to go. ILMN, Bob says, Illumina. Oh yeah, very nice. How are the options on this guy? Let's go see. Let's see what we have. We don't have weeklies. It's like there's some decent numbers, thousands of contracts, but the spreads are wide. And it may be that the market's close, so I'm not going to pass judgment yet, but I would say make sure those are tightened up during market hours when the time comes. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Okay. Stay with Intel. I'm staying with Intel still. It's held support. It with the only time it looked like it was breaking support was on the open, and I said I'm going to leave it. And if at the end of the day it gets back above 36, I'm going to stay with it. And exactly what it did. And the next day, sideways. So I'm going to give it just that little bit of next week to see if that momentum comes. We'll see what happens. LITE, quite strong, needs a pullback. I'm going to put that on our list, but it is a volatile. It's been hard to trade. Hard to trade. Eli Lilly, overextended, not looking great. LRCX looks very strong, but again, a bit overextended. Macy's. I think Macy's is still viable, still moving in an uptrend. MasterCard. Well, we'll wait and see. That one's chopping around. I have that one day right here. Meta. Meta had promise, and now it's just sort of starting to grind sideways. I'm going to wait a little bit and see what happens here. I do still like Morgan Stanley, strength in financials. In that one, as you can see. Microsoft, no. Micron, yes. On a pullback, Micron back in business. We're seeing still movement there. Netflix, no. Nvidia, yes. Nvidia's back in good graces. NXT, no. PLTR, maybe. I'll put it on my list because I like it so much. Anybody who was a top three for any given year, which this was in 2024? QQQ, no. I mean, yes, it looks fine, but it's not nothing setting up now. The real real. We'll keep an eye on this. Ended up peeling a little profit out of that thing. Rocket Lab, beautiful. Rocket Lab, come on down. We want to trade you again. We had so much fun on the last trade that we want to come again. Roku. Roku looks pretty good, actually. You could make an argument for that thing showing some momentum here. Ross Stores, yes. Still looks viable. RTX. RTX actually still looks pretty good too. On a pullback. We have plenty of good stocks. Oh, look at silver. Silver flying. Flying. Let's take a look at the, is it SILs? I always forget. SI. SI. Oh, there you go. That's the full contract. 79.70. 79.70. Very strong indeed. Parabolic, in fact. SNDK. I would think about that on a pullback. Yes. I think we have better. Um, STX looks like it's trying to do something here, as does Teradyne. I think that's the next one we're looking at. Trion. TJX looks strong. So many, I'm running out of room on my card. Tesla. I think Tesla still has bullishness if you like it. I don't trade Tesla, interestingly. I do trade TSM. TSM is kind of sideways though overall. I think they're stronger. Wayfair, no, I'm getting rid of Wayfair. We've watched that one. We'll see if it comes up again later. WBD, it's kind of, chopping around a little bit. We had a beautiful trade on that one. And then it is kind of getting whipped a little bit around by the news. Keep an eye on it. WDC still looks pretty strong overall. I'll still put that on my list, as Walmart will be as well. And Walmart could be setting up for a nice trade as we speak, where we could get at least back up to here, maybe new highs up in this 120 to 122 area. Yeah. Okay. Um, Questions, comments, or concerned? Real quick pass at the XLs. Materials, again, we see the strength there. Communication services holding up, turning up, looks pretty good. Energy down, staying down. Financials looking strong. Industrials trying. Technology sideways, but still plenty of promise. Staples iffy. Utilities iffy. Healthcare starting to waver a little bit. Consumer discretionary looking okay. Yeah, I think we're seeing pretty okay alignment. It's not great. Does seem like it's maybe shifting into a more favorable perspective. Yeah, I think we're poised for moving into a okay part of the. I mean, we got a 4.3 GDP. 4.3 GDP. Let's go see what the economic news brings this next week. Um, Economic calendar. Let's reload this. Oh, this is slow to update. Not much. Pending home sales, price index, minutes of the meeting, that might be useful. Jobless claims. Half day on Wednesday, closed on Thursday, no meetings. And I think I already took them off the calendar. I got like a Christmas morning reminder. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to take these off. I hope nobody joined. Um, no news on Friday, so it's light for the economic calendar. It might be another week of sideways, but if the buyers come, they can push it. If the buyers come, they can push it. CVS, some CVS pharmacies, is that what that is? Yeah, I mean it's holding. It's trying to bounce off the 50. Little sideways overall. Doug Ward says TLN, TLN. Kind of similar, Talon Energy. So what has it done? You can see it was kind of coming down in this. It's trying. I still want a higher low before I do anything. right? That higher low is what I think will be most interesting. So, all right. All right, all right. Well, it's great to see everybody. J&J. Boom. J&J setting up beautifully. Beautifully. You could have had a trade there. I would say it's still viable for Monday, actually. Just barely starting to turn into the right Heiken Ashies, and it could produce something. So J&J looks pretty solid. Spreads on J&J are, let me go look at the Jans. They're okay. Yeah, you're fine there. 15, 20 cents, and that's what the market closed. So I think you have what you need there. Okay, well listen, it's great to see everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Um took it Friday, John said. Okay. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. And as always, happy trading.